Hey everyone, this is my Angel Feather deck profile. If you watched my game previously, you may have noticed I did a slight misplay with the G-Guard. I don't know if anyone noticed. I always forget to check the top card of the deck for that card, but we'll get into that a bit later. This is Gavrail Rescue. Focuses mainly on the rescue ability, so I thought I'd show you guys how I've built this to work on getting rescue off efficiently. So the starter I use is Black Record Ridwin. So she is GB1, put her into the soul. When a card is placed from the damage zone into the drop zone, you can call it using her effect. And then, if that card was put into the drop zone from the damage zone using the rescue ability, you can choose a rearguard and it gets plus 4,000 power. This can be helpful during your opponent's turn if you heal or perform rescue during their turn. Because you can just give another rearguard a bit more of a boost. So this is always a good handy card to have. I prefer it from the old starter just because it's not got the counterblast effect, where some of the stuff in this deck does rely a lot on counterblast, but you can get it back. But for now, this is just a better option for me because it keeps my field a bit better as well. I go against the Japanese meta most of the time and restriction list just in case we get hit over here. But I do like the Tekken of 1 Doctroid Refros. If you don't know what this card does, it's Counterblast 1, put it to the top of the deck, choose 2 cards from your damage zone, put them back in the deck, shuffle up, put top 2 cards from your deck into the damage zone and draw a card if 2 were put back. So you can understand why this card kind of got limited in Japan and is possibly going to be on the lookout in England depending on how the next few tournaments go and if Angel Feathers get the majority of a play in certain areas and also if they tend to start topping. So just the one. Overall we do run 4 stands. So I do use Surgery Angel. I really like this card just for the rescue ability. Because he's Counterblast 1, put into the top of the deck, shuffle the deck, heal a damage, then take a damage, and all triggers would be activated. So during your turn, you boost a rearguard with this, put him back to the deck, heal a damage, and then you take the damage. If it's a stand, you stand a rearguard. If it's a crit, give it to the Vanguard. So it's good to get that extra play off, but can also give extra power using some of the grade 2 combos. We run 8 crit in total, 4 critical hit angel and 4 black serif, which is the Gavrail crit. So both go into the soul because soul is needed in this deck. So I wanted to make sure I've got resources for that. And then 2 heals. Only 2 Sunny Smile, which is the recyclable heal, because I've only got 2. And in all fairness, with G-Guards, I think 2's enough. So, because more than likely I'm going to be keeping them in my hand for G-Guarding. Moving on to grade 1s. The Gavrail Searcher. And also the Ditch for Stride. I only run 3 because I find 3's been enough. Either because my hand's been kept well and I can afford that little bit extra for striding, or I've always somehow managed to find it. We run 4 of the new Perfect Guard. Doctroid Remen. This is the normal Perfect Guard ability, but then moves on to Generation Break 1. If this is in your damage zone, you can pay the cost and perform rescue. So again, it's good for working off Gavrail's effects as well. Her GB2 skill helps with that power up, helps get any triggers as well. So it's really good. The only issue is, unlike the rest of the new Perfect Guards, this needs to be in the damage zone, which ideally you don't want, but if it's there you can make use for it. I run 2 Drill Motor Nurse. Her skill is Generation Break 1. When she's put into the drop zone, you can call it a rearguard. But if it was due to the effect of rescue, she gets 3,000 power. So you can either make her a 10k attacker or a 10k booster, whichever one's better. But this doesn't go for just your turn, it can be your opponent's. So again, if you've got a case of, you've got Diablo coming at you, you can get a couple of rear guards back using these. 2, Black Bomber Malik. When she's called from the damage zone, she gets Generation Break 1. At the end of the turn, she boosts. If the attack was to the Vanguard, you can perform rescue, and it's for free. So the only cost is to call it from the damage zone, which Angel Feathers do best, so you don't really particularly need to worry about that. And the last grade 1 rerun is Nurse of Smash Heart. What I like about this card is it's like a luck bird, but continuously. This is where the majority of your soul will go, because once per turn, Soul Blast 1, when a card's put into the drop zone, you can draw a card. Because I don't run the draws, this helps with that, and because rescue is performed a lot, and this is during yours or your opponent's turn, which I think is what Angel Feather's been really strong at since it's come out, but it's got even stronger at advantaging yourself during your opponent's turn. Moving on to grade 2s. Quite toolboxy for the grade 2s. They're in terms of, if I'm in a certain situation, I'll go for a certain card. Black Dream Zabanaya. She is the Glimmer Breath clone for Gavrail. You have to Can Blast 1 and Soul Blast 1. So again, this is where the cards that need to go into the soul come into it. So you choose a card from your hand, put it into the damage zone, and then choose a card from the damage zone and call it to rear guard. You then heal a point of damage and take a point of damage. So this helps you set up for the rescue with the Malik card, and it just sets up anything you need from the drop zone as well. So let's say you didn't want to use Gavrail's on Stride skill, you could use this if you needed to, because you get the extra rescue off as well, and the extra potential for triggers. We use Laser Clutcher Kellel. Again, this is just the grade 2 version of the Motor Drill Nurse, because she has the same effect that when she's put into the drop zone, you can call her to rear guard, but also she is able to get 3000 power when she's called using the rescue effect. So that's really good. Again, you make her a 12k attacker, which just helps hit those numbers a little bit. 3, Treatment Nurse. This has got on hit rescue. GB1, when it hits the Vanguard, perform rescue. Just has that little bit of pressure, but I didn't. In its place, you can use the Million Ray and the 1000 Rays Pegasus. If you don't want to use cards like this, but I prefer this just because I get the on hit, and also I can't afford to get the Pegasuses, so I use these in place. And then finally, the only thing I really run 4 of in the deck, other than Perfect Guards and Gavrail, is Nurse of Broken Heart, which is the kind of Generation Break 1 version of the Pegasus in terms of when a card goes into the damage zone, she gets 2000 power, but the Vanguard also gets 2000 power. I mean, this doesn't really stack too much unless I'm performing rescue, so I use it mainly for defensive abilities rather than during my own turn, and you'll see why. For Gavrail, of course, because this is a Gavrail deck, her on Stride skill is Can Blast 1, check the top 3 cards, put 1 into the damage zone, and call 1 from the damage zone. It has to be a face-up card, but also you get the GB2 effect that when a card goes into damage zone, your front row gets 2000 power, which works really well with rescue. So even if you can't Stride, but you're able to perform rescue, you get extra benefits from that. The backup I run is Refracture. I'm not even going to say it. It's the rescue searcher, basically. When she's plays Can Blast 1, Soul Blast 1, check the top 5 for a card with the rescue ability. But her other effect is when a card is placed on rear guard or guardian circle, you can perform rescue. Bit of a weird effect to say that this is one of the first cards in a long time that doesn't require to be on the rear guard to use its effect, rather than it's a Vanguard only effect. But at the same time, that's pretty good if you want to run rescue but you haven't got the money to, so she's a good alternative. Because rescue did get a lot of different variants in this set. G-Zone for Black Seraph Gavrail. So she is a generation break 2, but usually once you've strode once, this deck tries to get off GB2 right away, as most cards will. And many decks will as well. Without using Blizzard, that's what I try and do. But she is Canvas 1 and choose a copy of her face down and flip her face up. When a card performs, so when you perform rescue during your turn, you get the effect that you can give 2 units 2000 power. So this can be her and a rear guard that you haven't attacked with yet. But she then also gets rescue 2. And this does stack in terms of the power. I'm not sure of the rescue, but the power can stack. So when you've already performed the 2 rescue, you then get to give another additional 4000 power. That's why I like stands in this, because if I'm able to stand, then I can keep dishing out that additional power. And she works well with the Nurse of Broken Heart. This is where the majority of that power comes from with that combo. So, but I do like her overall because she doesn't require a Gavrail Vanguard. I only use one Holy Seraph Ural just because if I need the on-hit abilities to go off, then this is what I'll typically use. Just to add a bit of peer pressure, but I don't hardly use it. It's more just there in case I need it. For Holy Seraph Raphael. So again, a generation break 2 skill, but by the time you've already strode once, you've got enough to already do that, and she's flip a copy of herself and healer damage, regardless of if your opponent's on more or less. So gives you back that advantage. Only one Holy Seraph Zeracle. Can blast 1, choose a card from your damage G-Zone, flip it face up. I do like this card because it kicks off Generation Break 2, but also gives all your rear guards 3000 power that are in the front row. But it then also gives an additional 10,000 power to itself if you have 5 damage. I do like her. I tend to use her first and then use my one-offs to flip up the cards in the G-Zone to kick off Generation Break 2. But I just like her for that little additional power. Would like to run more if I can get my hands on them. But for now, she's just at 1. One Holy Seraph Raziel. When he's played, Soul Blast 2, take all the cards from your damage zone, shuffle them in your deck, and then put the top X amount of cards back into the damage zone. So works with Nurse of Broken Heart, but this deck doesn't revolve around going against the power so much. It works more against using rescue to my advantage. So he's okay, but again, he's one of those one-offs where I typically just tend to flip it face up. For G-Guards, 2 Holy Seraph Odorfel. Only the 2, because you have to be on 4 or more damage to get the extra 5000 power. So she's not bad, but the rescue one's better. So, but if I'm on that 5 damage, or if I need that extra 5000 power, she's an easy way to get it. And I run 2 because if I need to double G-Guard, this can give that little bit boost. And Holy Seraph Zuriel. As I said, in my game, I did misplay with this card because she's Can Blast 1, look at the top card of the deck, put it on the top or the bottom. I always just tend to take the damage, heal the damage and take a damage. I always forget to look first. So this is probably the card that confuses me most because I'm not used to doing that in anything outside Oracle Think Tank. But I do like this card. What I like mainly about Rescue is that I can heal a face down damage. So the cost is free, but alternatively you still need that cost to be able to perform the effect. So it's not completely a broken effect because you still need to be able to Can Blast 1 to heal that damage. But you're not. But again, it's essentially a free effect. That's why I like it. She is also good if you've got Generation Break 2 off for Gavrail, early quick power runs. And the reason I run 3 is because ideally I want to use this more than this one, just because I get the rescue off as well, and I get to look at the top card. So even if it's something I think I might need later on, I can still have it. But it's very conditional if I want to use it or not, and if I've got GB2, it tends to be the thing I want to use. I do like this deck overall, but I'm not keeping it, mainly because it does confuse me, and I've got too many other decks which I'm better with and I enjoy more. So I will be doing hopefully more Bermuda deck profiles in the future. A duo one should be on the way, and we also have hopefully a Riviere one on the way as well. In terms of duos, it's probably just going to be my pure Mia deck, because that's one of my more favourite duo builds other than Iori. Weirdly enough, I'm not a massive fan of Rhea to Mia until the new stuff comes out. So I'm waiting for that to happen. But anyway guys, thank you for joining me for this deck profile, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!